Okay, Heidi, thank you so much for being here. Welcome. And can you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, yeah. I am a performing artist turned serial entrepreneur. I grew up playing classical piano and singing and writing scripts and acting in church and doing shows and stuff. I have a degree in vocal performance. And after I graduated with my degree, I went ahead and started a private music studio, which began my near decade long entrepreneur journey now. And I've started multiple businesses. And up to this point, now I am a coach for creative entrepreneurs and I
Mm,
help them craft their unique story brand.
that's amazing. Okay,
Yeah.
so what was that transition like when you, transitioned from what you were doing and what you loved into, coaching people to do the same now?
That's a good question. Basically, I am blessed to have loved everything that I have done, including what I'm doing now, because I sort of discovered this synergy. Basically, when I graduated with my music degree, I didn't know how to make money with it other than teaching in a private music studio. And I knew that's not what I wanted to do with my life, but I did love coaching so very much.
Mm,
Basically, I started and experimented with many different businesses and went through what I call the school of hard knocks for business for a while until I finally hired a coach. And they basically showed me that uh, everything that I had done up to that point, I could use like in my story to help other people in the same way who were struggling with the same thing. I realized that a lot of my story was due to the fact that I grew up with um, a scarcity mentality, a lot of victimizing mindsets. And when I broke through those, I realized that I wanted to help other entrepreneurs overcome the same thing because through my first experiences starting multiple businesses, and it was all for the sake of like my dream life, right? I was trying to pursue my dreams. I've always been a dreamer, and so I was pursuing that with like everything I had, and I just kept falling on my face over and over again. And I ran myself into like a painfully large amount of debt. And because I was just investing in all of these businesses and I wasn't profiting at all.
yeah.
And so
I know how that goes.
oh my gosh, yeah, it's for real. I'm like, I don't know how anybody does it unless you invest in some sort of mentorship program, something to help you because
Totally.
I didn't know that was possible. I had a college degree and I was like, well, I'm not going to go back to college and like try to get a business degree like that. I just spent like several years getting my vocal degree. So I was like, what do I do? Well, I'm just going to do it on my own. And I just went at it alone for the longest time. And then when I found out that I could hire a coach, I was like, this is what I need, exactly what I need.
Yeah.
So I went and I hired a coach, and I discovered just so much magic behind business. Just became so much simpler for me. It became way more relational. And I think that's what I love about business is how relationship oriented it is because I love people and I love that. And I felt like I was not being authentic to myself for the longest time with my business because I was trying to just fit so many other boxes in order to, I just didn't know that I could just be me and like, build relationships and
Yeah. Yeah.
build business that way. And so it was really revolutionary when I found that out. And so what I did was I took my music studio, which had burnt me out at the time because I was serving anybody and everybody who would pay me. And basically just had reached burnout. And I rebranded that whole studio and I decided to serve a specific audience. I totally changed my offer. I incorporated my story into it.
Yeah.
And it was like straight up magic. Like I've never loved coaching so much. Like I already loved being a coach, but like it was just amazing to see the types of students that I was attracting to myself, the types of experiences that I was having. I was like, this is so cool. I want to help other people like me who maybe don't have the business training, but they're, really good at what they do, really good at their craft. and give them the business, like what they need in order for them to like actually build a business that fuels them and that fuels their abundance story, that where it's like that future that they want, they know their business actually lines up with it. So basically now I help people align their business with their passions and their values and their talents and their story. And when I find that all four things of those are aligned, it's like, it's magic. It's what happens with your business when you do that. And in your own personal life is really, really cool to watch.
So your business, your passion, and your story, did you say, and your experiences?
Yeah. So four things: your passions, your values, your talents, and your story. When you align with all of those things through your business, first of all, you have like a trademarked personal brand without even paying for a trademark.
For sure.
And secondly, you're just so fueled by what you're doing, because at that point, your mess has definitely become your message. Yeah. And you're helping so many other people who struggled with the same things you've struggled with. And there's every part of you that needs to be filled and fueled is at that point. And so it's really cool.
The funny thing about putting yourself out there for who you really are and telling your story is that you attract people who actually resonate with you, isn't it? And so then you get to work with people who not just you resonate with, but who are actually interested in the unique things that you have to offer. It's really beautiful.
It's crazy because the very first client that came to me whenever I launched my new coaching business was so much like, it was like I was looking in the mirror and seeing myself like 3 to 5 years ago it was so cool. And I was like, oh my gosh, like total, like you want to talk about getting off a call and just feeling like it's worth it. It's all worth it. If you take everything that like you felt may have disempowered you at one point and you use it to empower somebody like you, who's maybe a few steps behind in their journey, whatever, it's so fulfilling to do that. I love it.
Yeah, amazing. So just want to recap. So you said that you kind of rebranded was it your voice coaching and your kind of performance coaching? And then that's where you have this transformation and this shift of attracting people who really resonated with you and it's just a higher quality person. And then after some of, that success is where you later decided to become a coach for people who wanted to do a similar thing. Is that right?
Yeah. And I tried so many other things but something was missing. Either I wasn't using my talents, or I wasn't using my story, or I wasn't using what was important to me. I wasn't prioritizing my values. Something was missing in all the other businesses that I had tried, until I was like, why am I doing this? Why don't I just rebrand my studio and then see how I can start incorporating all these things? And once I rebranded my studio, I ran it for like a full successful term. And I was like, there's something to this. Like this could be bigger. I could go further with this. And so that's when I did what you said. And I kind of just transformed into, I'm like, I'm just straight up. I'm so passionate about the coaching part of things. I'm like, I'm going to help creatives who are dynamite at their craft and they're passionate about what they do and they want to make a difference in the world. Yeah. And I'm going to help them do the same thing that I did. So
amazing. That's so amazing. So
changed my life, and I love watching what it's doing for my clients as well.
Yeah, no, I can see that you're glowing about it. You're fully embodied. You really love this work. I can see that for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Tell me, give me like a few qualities. Like who is your dream client right now in this moment? Who would you love to just like get on your calendar or just like contact you to work together?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that question. So my ideal client is obviously a creative human, service-based entrepreneur in their first few years of business, or with a business idea that they want to start and do it right the first time. So I can work with retail entrepreneurs, but mostly I work with creative service-based entrepreneurs. In the online space, most of them. Most of them are young millennial women, obviously. I told you, I was like, I'm looking in the mirror for myself a few years ago, so it's crazy. But yeah, and it's funny you should ask, because I'm running a workshop just on the house next week for whoever wants to join. And you can join if you just want to learn how to how to rebrand your business, you know, to begin with, or how to start aligning your business with who you are. If you're listening right now and that's you.
Yeah.
But I was just going to say it's a 5-day workshop. It starts on August 17th. And I don't know where we can leave that information.
Yeah, tell me the link, and if you wouldn't mind to email me the link to that same email that you sent the other info to, then I can make sure I publish it. Yeah.
So it's HeidiHood.com/createabundance. And I'll just say that one more time for those listening. It's HeidiHood.com/createabundance. But yeah, it's basically a transformative experience where we get real and honest with ourselves, and we start to make peace with our narrative, the stories about ourselves or the stories we tell ourselves about ourselves. And we make peace with that, and we sort of flip the narrative and decide how we're going to move forward in a way that's completely aligned, so that our business is aligned with us and it supports our story as opposed to the other way around. Because another thing that I find is so oftentimes entrepreneurs feel as though they exist to serve their business, when really it's the other way around. Their business should be fueling and serving them. And so, because without people, it's like, where is business? It's not. There is businesses made of people, and people make business. Like,
Totally agree.
it's so much about how you relate to yourself. It's so much about how you relate to other people. And so that's what this experience is all about, and that's what I love helping people to do.
Amazing. And yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I'm a people person as well, and you know, that's my background in psychology, and I was a Buddhist monk actually for a few years.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, and so that's just like I love people, I love relationships, and it made everything click into place when I realized that business was just about relationships, as you said. It's pretty much just relationships. It's, yes, there's self-awareness. We need to know ourselves. We need to be able to put out, you know, the aspects of ourselves that we want to, yeah, to put out. But yeah, most of it is just building relationships. Most of life is just building relationships. And that kind of means for someone who wants to grow their business, they can't shortcut that. You can't hide and grow your business at the same time. And you can't just, like, some people run towards automation and they want to create some kind of automated thing where they're not even connecting to real people. And I believe that that's also a type of hiding, and that if everyone just simply realize they need to connect to their audience and connect to people, not just their audience, but also collaborators, as we're doing here right now. This is what business is about. Is real connection, I believe.
Absolutely. And it's funny you should say those two, that like you mentioned relationships and you mentioned connection. And those are two of the things that I like preach, like all the time. I'm just like, if you activate relationship, if you activate connection, you are well on your way to abundance. And the first thing I did when I was like going to start my new coaching company was like, I called up some of my creative entrepreneur pals, and I was like, hey, I'm going to take you to coffee. I want to interview you. I want to pick your brain, because I have this idea and I want to like get to know y'all before I just start offering, you know, people like us the same thing. And so that was like, it's hands down the best thing I did. It's what I did as well before I rebranded my music studio. Was I went and I interviewed my ideal clients, you know, my ideal students, and I was like, I'm gonna pick your brain, okay? So I had that relational foundation before I got started, and it's definitely, you can't rush it. Like you said, you can't fast forward that process.
Yeah, I just want to talk real quick about the power of the rebrand, because it's a phrase you keep using, and I found that this is very, very powerful to help somebody to rebrand. And I think the important thing to know for me is that whenever we create a business, a lot of people, you know, clients will come already having some kind of brand, and they may be resistant to like changing it. But I don't know if you find that people are resistant to changing their brand, but I would say that you can't really get it right on the first try in many cases. Like, sometimes you just need to put something out there, get new info, get a coach, get a mentor, get a new idea, and then make a shift based on the pieces you already have in place. And I found that rebranding is one of the main things that, you know, I help people with as well. And it's I've obviously done this for myself too. And it's just like, it's such an important step, but it's like, but it's not just I'm not saying a brand, I'm saying a rebrand, because like I said, I don't think that you can get it right on the first try unless you've, maybe as you are like a serial entrepreneur and you've done it many times, maybe then you can get it right on the first try. But for people who are just starting, you're just not going to get it on the first try. And you need to like try something, get some pieces, bring the pieces to a coach, and then the coach can help you to put them into a different place in a way that's even more authentic for you.
That's the value of hiring a coach, is that you have someone who who can maybe see some blind spots that you don't realize about yourself. And I know for me, it was really powerful to have a coach, because she pointed out to me things about myself that was like, this is a really powerful part of like who you are and what you do. You should incorporate that into your brand. And I was like, oh man, it was a blind spot. I didn't even see it there. But yeah, absolutely. I do find people are resistant to rebranding. It's funny because even if they come to me and they say, I'm not fully aligned with my business anymore, I've been successful with it up to this point, I'm 3 to 5 years in, but I feel like it doesn't align anymore. Even then they're like, I want to rebrand, but it's a process. It's like, I compare it to the I guess, metamorphosis of a caterpillar becoming a butterfly. It's like, how many times does it dissolve in the cocoon? It's like, I don't even know, but it does dissolve in the cocoon before it becomes a butterfly. That's uncomfortable. That's an uncomfortable process. And I think that it's important to know, like, even if you do get it right the first time, like, you're probably going to rebrand again down the road, because the human that you are now is not going to be the same human you are in 5 to 10 years. Your passions, your values and talents, and your story will be could be totally different 10 years from now. And so it's having that, allowing things to be fluid, and trying one thing, like putting yourself out there, testing it out. I feel like there's a lot of value in seeing your business as an experiment, a fluid experiment, that you're just always testing things out and seeing what works and what doesn't, and that you're willing to change if something's not working the way you hoped it would work. And rebranding is often for that. I have clients who come and they say, I thought that my business was going to give me this kind of a satisfaction or give me this sort of time freedom or whatever, and it's not working. And so, like, well, let's take a look at who you're serving. Let's take a look at your offer, because if they're not aligned, that's problem number one. And then let's take a look at your message. Like, are you preaching a message that actually resonates with your audience? And so it's a really, really big deal to rebrand it. It takes a lot of intentionality and definitely some vulnerability, especially if you're going with the personal brand route, the story branding route.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay, and I'm happy you brought up the story brand, because I was going to ask you about a little bit about the story. So can you just tell us, I know stories are so important and we all maybe hear about what that is, but can you talk maybe some tips about how to extract like the essence of our story for branding purposes?
Yeah. So I have a clarity chart that I give to my clients. And there are, all of these columns saying, asking these thought-provoking questions about what lights you up, what can you not stop talking about, what do people come to you for help, all of these kinds of things, right? And then there's another part of the chart where they go through and they check off the boxes as far as like, what is aligning with their story, what's aligning, where they just basically align everything and say, okay, based upon all of this, this is the business opportunity, or this is the offer that I should or could create, that's fully aligned. And it takes the first thing that we do before that clarity chart is we go through their story like 4 or 5 different times. And we actually sort of extract their story behind their current business idea or business. And we say, okay, why and what got you started with this business? And what has your journey been like so far? Okay, now let's talk about your belief story. What do you believe now? And where do you think that belief came from in your life story? And we do take time to compose, whatever big revolutionary moments that they remember from their life story that they feel were pivotal in their lives up to that point. And then we write what I call a comeback story, which is where they see their biggest transformation happen in their life. And they talk about how, you know, I was once this way, and this is what happened to change that, and this is what broke me, and this is what healed me, and this is how I've come back, and something unique to me that I can now offer the world as a result of the sludge and the, you know, the hard times that I went through. This is now the unique stuff that I have to offer. And then, you know, depending on where they're at with their business idea, for their new brand, we shape their ideal client off of that, and then we move on and do the offer and all of that stuff. So
I love that.
yeah,
Okay,
it's
so
thorough.
yeah, it sounds amazing. So can you tell us where we can find, do you give that away as a resource, or is it just for the clients who sign up with you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't have it as a free resource right now, but
I'm not suggesting that you should. I'm not suggesting, just kind of asking. So if someone wants to work with you and just contact you, do they
yeah.
go to HeidiHood.com?
You know, if you want to work with me, I think the best thing for you to do is join that challenge. And I run them once a month. So if you can't join now, don't worry. There'll be another one next month. But it's HeidiHood.com/create abundance. And when you go through this challenge, we will have the opportunity to build a relationship together. I can get to know you. You can get to know me. And then at the end, I have a special gift for those that stick with it to the very end of the workshop or the challenge.
Yeah.
And at that point, we can talk face to face and see if the program is a fit for you with your goals right now.
Amazing, amazing. All right, that's so cool. Thank you so much for sharing that. And yeah, I think if everyone listening and watching, you should go to HeidiHood.com. She's an abundance activator. I see on your sign behind you, and
That's true.
and I can see that. Yeah, you have a lot to offer. You're kind of, there's a lot of clarity coming from you. You're very clear about what you're talking about, and I think anybody who wants to, yeah, to experience clarity in their business should contact you, especially creative people.
I'm very grateful to hear that. That's really cool to hear because a lot of my comeback story has to do with going through insane amounts of confusion. So
Oh, good.
it's really cool to hear you say that.
You've transformed it. No, you seem extremely clear. Like when you're talking about, yeah, offer, messaging, all this kind of stuff, story, these are things that can cause lots of confusion for people, but it seems like you've developed a lot of clarity around this. And it's quite simple. It can be simple. It can be a simple process. And so I'm just kind of hoping that everyone listening or watching can stay encouraged that this can be simple. You just need to find a person who has more clarity about it than you do. And yeah, so I think everyone listening or watching, go to HeidiHood.com.
Thank
Or
you so much.
you're welcome. And I think probably finding you on social media would work too, sounds like.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, just find me and that's HeidiHood.social on Instagram and Facebook. And if you find me there, you'll find all of my resources, and you can join that workshop next week or whenever it is that I'm not sure when this is airing, but
yeah, this will air at some point, and people will find it when they're ready, and then they can know that within a month there'll be another challenge for them.
There you go.
So my last question is actually more of like a personal one. We're creating a summit. I think you'd be perfect for the summit. It's really just for people who want to create like a heart-centered business, and yeah, and just increase their leadership in the world. I'd love for you to be part of it.
Oh my gosh, that is literally so exciting. I would love to. That is my heartbeat, is to help people create heart-centered businesses. So
Wonderful.
I'm all in.
All right, amazing. And I'll just tell you now that the summit is actually it's a 14-day free, or maybe it'll be like $1 or something, but it's a 14-day summit, and it's going to be the kickoff of a monthly membership program, like a mastermind style. It's like a mastermind style subscription monthly program where the speakers of the summit will twice a month, or maybe just once a month, show up on Zoom with whoever wants to join, and all the paying people, and basically, yeah, we'll be able to coach people in this kind of format. And
That is so cool.
Yeah, I'd love for you to be part of that too. I'm interested in people who sign up to be contributors to the summit to actually kind of commit to like 6 months of showing up twice per month for 1 hour to kind of coach people. And it's a subscription based thing that people can sign up for, and basically, yeah, the profits will be shared among us all. Are
Well,
you
I'd love to hear more about that. That sounds really awesome.
okay? I'll send you more info about that.
Yeah, please do.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I just think it's a unique, like we have so much to offer together, right? Like we can all offer things, and I just think it's fun to kind of put us all together.
Yeah.
And yeah, for anyone who wants to be more of a leader or to have more service based presence in their life or to grow a business, you know, why not create a resource like this? So this is a project I'm working on. So
Well, I love what you do, John. I think it's amazing the way you bring people together to serve everyone. And I agree with you. There's power in numbers. There's power in collaboration. That's one of the things that I preach is collaboration over competition. I think it's way more powerful, way more effective. And I think you're a great example of that. And you do a really good job bringing people together and serving everyone else. So I appreciate it. And thanks for having me on today too.
thank you. I appreciate that. That's very beautiful. So yeah, I guess, is there anything else that you could say? I didn't really ask you about leadership. Do you want to talk about leadership real quick?
Yeah, I do a full session on leadership in my program because it is so, in my opinion, it's underteached. um,
Yeah, yeah,
for,
for sure.
and if you want an effective story brand, then you've got to embrace the leader inside of you and be willing to step into that. I think one of the main challenge with that is when people first start tapping into leadership, they maybe have, preconceptions about it or different things that maybe aren't um, real accurate to what leadership is or should be, or, the healthy form of leadership. I actually grew up with a lot of different kinds of leaders in my life. And I I've seen leaders who are more egotistical in the way that they lead. It's more of a, where the world is revolving around them sort of a leadership. And then I've seen leaders where it's like they've just been so empowering to everyone around them. And that's the type of leader that you want to be if you want to have an effective story brand. So a lot of what we talk about is how to help your client and your audience see themselves as the hero that they are, and you're their guide. And so one of the first mistakes people make when they're creating their message or their rebrand is they place themselves as the hero for their clients. And in reality, their clients are already heroes. They just have to tap into that, what's already inside of them. And so once that little mind shift happens, it's like you become a leader who's guiding those that are in your audience to become the heroes that they're meant to be, and then they become guides for other people, and it's just kind of this cycle. So that's kind of my working philosophy around leadership right now, and it's really, really powerful to see even just the changes that happen in the messaging of my clients when they start typing out their emails and their social media posts and doing their lives from a space of empowering their audience and connecting with their audience, as opposed to, this is my soapbox and this is what I preach and you take it or leave it and all of that kind of stuff. It's funny because it's also, it changes the types of clients that they're attracting to themselves when they make that little shift. So yeah, I could actually talk about leadership for a very long time.
I know you could, but it sounds like it's the essence of what you're saying so far is that it's about other people. A leader is a servant. A leader is helping other people. They're not focused on themselves as the center. They're not like the egotistical center. They're guiding people along their own hero's journey. Is kind of what I'm hearing you say.
Yeah,
that's a big difference.
they're like, let's see. I'm having like a visualization of an analogy here. Let's see if it works. I haven't used this one before. So it's like you have Well, the stars, we use the stars as a guide, right? Or we use like,
Hmm.
constellations as a guide. Um, but no, the analogy is not going to work. Never mind.
Okay, no problem. But it sounds like, yeah, you're maybe the leader becomes like the guiding star in a sense, or
There you go.
I think of it like a
Exactly.
shepherd, almost like a shepherd, like guiding sheep, just like really caring for the flock. That's one of the ways.
Yeah, and another thing too that's huge for me is like I've been led by leaders who like their definition of being a servant leader actually involved them becoming sort of a doormat, like where they lost themselves in that leadership position and it became completely about who they were taking care of as opposed to. So I also talk about how it's important as a leader that you look out for yourself. You're not able to lead anybody else until you're able to lead yourself.
Got it.
And making sure that servant leadership, it doesn't involve just doing whatever it is that everybody else wants you to do all the time.
Sure.
It involves serving them from a place that aligns with your convictions and aligns with the a true heart of love, as opposed to trying to appease people or whatever, you know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
we can easily fall into that as well in business where the people pleaser in us comes out and we're just like going to serve everybody in every which way that they want to be served. And there's really a lot of value in niching down and finding an offer that it's like I can serve you in the highest way by offering this.
Yeah.
And if that's not going to add value to your life, that's okay. I'm sure you can find someone else who can add value to your life right now. But
Yeah.
I really encourage my clients to do that, is to offer what they know where they can bring the highest value to the audience that they can bring the highest good to. And that often means not serving everyone anymore.
Got it. For sure. Definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. The people pleasing is got to go. And yeah, we need boundaries. We need to lead ourselves. We need to lead with wisdom. Meaning, for me, a leader is like you're helping a group of people. Everyone wants to go the same direction, and if we know how to go there better than they do, then we're fit to lead them in that moment. And that's what a leader is. You're taking them in a specific direction, even if it involves tough love, even if it involves ignoring somebody or saying no, even if it involves doing what they need in that moment. You're still just trying to guide them in a higher direction, I think.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of value in expressing the motive, the intention behind those things, because boundaries are healthy to have, especially when you express, like, I feel like I would be doing you a disservice to not have this boundary in place. And I actually add more value to you by having these boundaries in place and showing that you have the best interest of everyone in mind when you're implementing those things. It's huge. That's another, in my mind, that's another mark of maturing leadership, is to be able to do that.
Beautiful. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Is there anything else that you could say to like aspiring leaders or like maybe heart-centered entrepreneurs who are looking to grow their business, like anyone watching or listening? What can you say to them to help them get to their next level?
Yeah. Don't be afraid of the process. If you're like me, or if you're creative and you create things, then you know that the end result is oftentimes like not it, it's more about the process creating the end result. For example, I did shows for years, and the amount of time you spend in rehearsals is like insane, and then the show is what, 2.5 hours. So just allow yourself to enjoy the process, because it's uncomfortable, yes, but that is where the magic lies. That's where the growth lies.
Yeah.
And that's how you're going to get where you want to go. And don't go it alone. Get help, because we all have blind spots and we could all use some. It totally streamlines the process. If I could have hired a coach when I first began, it would have saved me a lot of heartache.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. Same here. I was too proud at first, but
Yeah.
eventually I humbled up and did it. Thank you so much, Heidi. It's been a pleasure having you here. I can see we align in many ways. You're a glowing example of what not just the entrepreneur should be, but a coach for entrepreneurs. And I just appreciate your presence. I appreciate what you're doing in the world.
Well, thank you so much, John. I appreciate you too. And I definitely agree. I feel like there's a lot of alignment here, and I'm excited for that summit that you
Yeah,
mentioned. That's going to be awesome.
me too. Okay, I'll send you more info about that. All
Awesome.
right. Have a great day.
Thanks. All right. Bye.
Bye.